One of the concerning things about being a parent is imagining your child in their adolescence experimenting with alcohol and drugs. And for me personally, I'm not concerned about the fact that one day my kid will engage with that type of activity. It's more a case of like, I don't want him to I don't want him to have the same mindset that I did when I started partying, because for me it wasn't. I've always felt a little bit different from the average type of person where uh you're young, you want to drink and take drugs and you want to have a good time. But for me, like, when I started getting into it, I wasn't just like, oh yeah, this is fun. I was like, this is a calling. Like, this is something I'm going to take seriously. I'm going to work towards, and I I'm not just going to consider it frivolous fun. Of course it's that, but it's also like I'm going to be strategic about this. This is like a fucking long-term kind of vocation that I'm going to like. At least there's a part of my mind where I'm kind of calculating my moves here, and yeah, I'm going to be a fucking party animal. Like, I self-identify with that. And it was something that I wanted to work towards. And it is, of course, I'm going to say this up front, a complete waste of fucking time. It's not intelligent. It's much better off. You're much better off to be the uh the person who doesn't take it too seriously. You can have a few beers and, wake up with a slight hangover the next day and move on with your life, as opposed to ruminating the next day to be like, what could I have done differently? And not like regretting the crazy shit that you said. More more case being like, well, I said some crazy shit, but maybe if I'd had more to drink, I wouldn't have said the crazy shit. Like, just all the backward thinking that comes along with it. Because I think about like the early days getting drunk. Everyone remembers their first beer, right? You fucking the dizziness and the kind of like the fun that would come along with like having three beers. That kind of like insane first time. You're always chasing the first time, essentially. Uh and I think that for me, at least, once I got over the first hump where it's like I can have six beers without feeling like my stomach's gonna turn on me, then I was like, all right, let's take it up a notch. Let's make this fucking stomach turn on me. Like, let's enforce it by drinking way too many spirits and stuff like that. And there's some really fucking embarrassing nights where, one night, for example, we'd always have a lot to drink before we go out to save money, and I'd overdo it constantly. And one particular night where I think I was okay on the train into the city, and then once we like literally got to the bar, I downed like a little bottle of Bacardi or vodka or something I had stashed in my jeans. And then, so I remember like the first 2 minutes at the club, and then I was like paralytic. My friends were furious because it was fucking 10 p.m. on a Saturday night. They'd just gotten there and they were like, fuck, this cunt is paralytic. And so they put me under a staircase. They hid me, and I slept for 4 hours, and it was like 2 a.m. They're like, let's go get Tommy. And then they woke me up, and I was still pretty fucked up. I don't remember much of the anything from that night, really. So anyway, that was way too far in the other direction. And then I feel like because I'd done that, then I went through a bit of a phase where I was like over engineering everything a little bit, because I'd been way too kind of like, whatever, man, let's drink it all right now. Then I went a bit like fucking micromanagey of my consumption, be like, all right, gonna do this, gonna go to this club, then we're gonna go there, and then we're gonna have these drinks, and we're gonna do this drug. And it was a little bit fucking Rain Man at a certain point where I was like, okay, yeah, I guess you executed your plan, but did you have any fucking fun while you're doing it? I was maybe kind of like, I was out of control pretty, pretty regularly. And so I was kind of like, as my tolerance grew, I was like only allowing myself to get out of control in certain situations. This is all just fucking insane thinking about like the internal machinations of like what the way I was planning this out. Um, but yeah, now I feel like fucking knock on wood here. I feel like I've kind of got it nailed a little bit. Like this, for example, this recent little bender that I went on with a couple old pals. We were in Jamaica, and then one of my buddies I was in Jamaica with came back to Atlanta with me, and then we went there. He hung with me for a week, and we went out to this Halloween party, which was like a pretty tame neighborhood thing. But we had tons of drinks that night, and then the following night we went to see the Brian Jonestown Massacre, and that was a fucking huge night. And then we kind of came off the air the next day. We were at the gym, and I was like swimming laps. And then I went up to him and I was like, you know what? I just did a fucking quick um back of the envelope calculation because at that point we'd been drinking for 6 nights in a row. It was the seventh day of the bend, but we'd quit drinking by that point. The Brian Jonestown Massacre was quite rightly the final show in this little bender. And I said to him, I was like, I'm pretty sure, based on my rough calculations of 4 days, 3 nights in Jamaica, and then this little bender in Atlanta, I've had about 140 standard drinks over the period of 6 days. Yeah, and he's like, yeah, it checks out. Slightly over the recommended dose, but that's the thing is that towards the end of the Brian Jonestown night, there was like some blurry moments there, but on the whole, because that's the thing that I've kind of realized is that it's the whole fucking package. It's not just your own kind of like drug and alcohol consumption. It's the company you keep, the type of activities you choose to do, the food you choose to do, and at what time. Like it's all kind of a part of the fucking experience. And I've kind of realized that I think it's about because I've taken considerable periods off fucking caning it as well because I don't want to look like Shane McGowan by the age of 32. So, but I reckon if you want to be a total fucking party animal and you want to know how to do it right, it's like a 10-year program. I think there's no real way of getting around it because you got to learn to know yourself. You've got to mature into the party animal that you're destined to be. You got to find the right type of people. You got to find the right type of activities that suit you. You got to get your shit together. And there's a lot of trial and error. There's no way around it. So I think that it's a 10-year program. If you start when you're 15 and you're diligent about it, by the time you're 25, you could be a fucking certified party animal. For me, I think it took a few years extra because I was like reckless and yeah, I just made some mistakes along the way where I was like, oh, I just can't fucking but that's the thing is that what I've come to realize is that I think back to like as I mentioned at the top of the episode that I remember the initial feeling back being like, yeah, this is a calling. I want to be I want to be a party animal, man. Which is kind of pathetic, but there is a great value in it. Like it is you meet people who try and party and they don't know how to do it. And it's like, oh, you've missed the boat, man. You're not gonna fucking you can't do it. It's too late. You didn't put the hours in early enough. Now you're just gonna make a fool of yourself when you try and do it. So you may as well not do it. Whereas for me, I think I definitely don't want to be that guy every day, but I think I can bring it out now and do it right. And I don't know. This could just be a massive fucking dose of copium for me to allow myself to fucking give it a nudge every now and again. But it's fun when you do it right. Oh yeah, and that's my point. My final point is that I feel like yeah, the I think this is on We Might Be Drunk, Mark Norman's podcast where he was talking about giving up and he goes, I'd never abuse it or I keep my drinking under control because I love it so much and I never want to give it up completely. And I think that I guess the party animal like gone too far, the person who fucking dies doing bad drugs or just fucking kicks the shit out of their liver and they have serious health consequences. It's like, from my perspective, it's like you didn't love it enough. Like you didn't like the you like the fucking drugs and alcohol. That's um I'm not disputing that. I'm disputing whether you like to like partying is everything. It's the encapsulation of spending time with friends, the mirth and merriment, the chaos of going out into public when you're impaired, meeting strangers, logistics, dealing with people freaking out. It's like the whole fucking chaotic mess of it. That's what I love. I love it all. And so basically, I feel like I'm kind of a warrior at this point. I can do it. I can kind of like navigate my way through it and have a great time and not ruin my fucking life. Um, Whereas I think a lot of people, it's like it becomes too difficult. Didn't put in the hours. So anyway, yeah, this is a massive dose of copium, but hopefully someone can relate. And cheers, comrades. Hope you're having a good one. Catch you on the next one. Thanks for listening. Bye.